taking into cognizance that LGBTQI plus issues has never been on the agenda of the trade union movement. But as FEDUSA, we felt those workers are workers as well, and they need to have their voice, because they are also paying subscriptions within FEDUSA or any other trade union movement. Now we need to level the playing fields for them to be able to participate effectively and be able to be part of the programs within FEDUSA. It's also been difficult because no worker has actually come up and said, I'm from the LGBTQI plus group, but we know that if the environment is conducive for them to come out of the boxes, they will be able to do that because they know that we are representing them. And I think there should be nothing about LGBTQI without them. They should be part of the trade union movement agenda. And that is why during the Congress of FEDUSA that was held in October 2021, we came up with a resolution, Resolution 19, that talks about securing LGBTQI plus rights in the world of work. It has been adopted and it has been endorsed. Now, what we are doing as the Federation, we are trying to have activities and workshops, which one was held already on the in July already, in terms of what is it that we need to do to implement the resolution itself, because it's good to have a resolution, but it's also not good to implement the resolution that we have taken. So we have a resolution that has been adopted. So it's also popularizing and raising awareness about the resolution for all members to know that this resolution exists, and making sure that people understand what is LGBTQI. For me, it's also being a feminist, and being a feminist is wanting to see equality for everybody in the world of work. And I'm aware that some people don't want to talk about LGBTQI plus issues, but I thought if we can use the word intersectionality, that would bring everybody on the workplace. Rather than using that word, you'd rather say intersectionality. Then it will also encompass and bring together all, the groups. Whether for me, it has been very much interesting because I understand and I know what are the difficulties for people within the LGBTQI, and just talking to them in terms of their rights, they will tell you that they don't feel comfortable. Sometimes they don't want to use the normal toilets that are marked women or men, and they would want to use something else, and which in the workplace you can't find or anywhere. So for me, it's a bit challenging, and we are still learning in terms of how do we make sure that we don't hurt them when we speak, and we don't also always refer to them, because it's also not nice to be referring to them or as that group. It enshrines the rights of workers in the world of work. But what I also noticed is that the convention brings a new language in terms of our legislation, because when you talk about legislation in South Africa, you talks about workplace, but the Convention 190 talks about world of work, which is a very difficult term to understand, and we need to unpack what do we mean by world of work. And in the convention, we talk about a vulnerable group, but in South Africa, when you look at our constitution, already there's a list of grounds of discrimination, that you cannot discriminate people based on those grounds. So for us, it's quite easier to implement the convention, because the Constitution, Chapter 2 of the Constitution on Human Rights, is already listing all the grounds that you cannot discriminate a person. So for me, it's actually doing our work as gender coordinators very easy, because it actually tells us what to do as the trade union movement, what business need to do, what government needs to do. So it's for us just to unpack and also make sure that all the workers do understand the convention, what the convention seeks to address. One of the lessons is that you should allow people to actively participate without pushing people to get out of the box, and you should not judge a person by the way he or she walks or dresses. you should allow people to actually tell you how do they want them to be addressed, whether they want to be addressed as women, whether they want to be addressed as other group. But you should actually take it from them. You don't assume. So it's a learning point for me that the normal thing that we normally do of judging people, we should actually leave it aside and always allow a person to give you the way she or he wants to be referred to.